You are that divine being, essentially remaining the same, and yet the experience is continuously evolving. It's a subject that comes again and again to the mind of, especially of people who have been busy with Advaita. I'm coming back to the question Heidi has asked, that because many times I'm saying the self is projecting aspects into this world, into this magic show to gain experience. But why, the question is, why would the self want experience? The thing is, we have to remember that teachings are teachings. Teachings are pointers. Pointers to a mystery of existence that can never be really fully explained. And we say that beingness, Brahman, the self, God, is absolute, is perfect. We're using all these words, we're having ideas about it, but we just put it in such a way for the mind that we see the relative, the imperfect, the ephemeral, that which is changing all the time, and so we name the opposite. What you are essentially is what you are, and it doesn't change. And if something doesn't change, then the words perfect or imperfect, they don't mean anything anymore. As soon as we start talk about perfect, complete, then we imply the imperfect, the incomplete. Now, the self is projecting into this magic show to gain experience. It's not because of a sense of not being complete, of being incomplete. It's simply natural, a natural, positive, creative curiosity of existence to experience itself in ever new ways. In course of the process, to expand the experience. Staying the same essentially, and yet the experience is expanding. We can't really get it with the mind. It's not something that we really can totally understand, and yet we can point to it. You are that divine being, essentially remaining the same, and yet the experience is continuously evolving. And projecting into this magic show is one way of boosting that evolvement, of growing, of expanding. The two traditional teaching, the one that says everything is one, nothing ever really happens, nothing changes. This is just a momentary appearance. It doesn't make any sense. It comes, it goes, it always remains the same. And the other teaching that says, yes, but there are beings, and they keep on evolving continuously. The two teachings are not really contradictions. They are simultaneously true. They are pointing out a different aspect of this mystery. Simultaneously, essentially, there is no change. And the experience of that changeless mystery keeps on expanding, evolving continuously. And when we are here in this world, consciousness connected to a physical body, that continuous confrontation of the limitations that come along with it, that continuous confrontation with pleasant, unpleasant, like, I don't like, attraction and repulsion, and all the dynamics that come along with it is something that makes this experience of the self unfold enormously. We may not be aware as long as we are identifying with the person, with the projection. We may not have an idea what is really happening all the time, but still on a subtle level it keeps on unfolding and expanding, and the point will come within this life or not within this life. The point will come where that awareness comes. What has really happened here? How much we have been enriching that essential experience of reality simply by being alive. As long as we are doing it half asleep, just being pushed by whatever comes along, it's most of the time a painful business, and it's very slow. The more we take the trouble to bring the attention to the present and be awake and be alert, the more potential is every moment, the greater the intensity of this human experience. And we can gain 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 times from a lifetime that stays with that being when that lifetime is over. If we are awake, if we consciously go through it, instead of just being half asleep and being just pushed along, swept along by the current of events. On top of that, the suffering disappears. If you are here now, living consciously, living intensely in touch with that reality, then the suffering disappears. Sometimes it's still unpleasant, sometimes it's pleasant. But that mental anguish that we are creating, as long as we are totally identified with that projection, with that personality, is not more there. That mental anguish that we call suffering, the mental anguish that comes out of the identification and then invariably continuously resisting, because there are always things that we don't like. Even when things are fine, there's always that little nagging thing. What I'm trying to do is to explain something that cannot be explained. But through this explanation, you give a pointer that can help the heart to open and somehow not understand, but sometimes feel the reality of it, and that can be very helpful. That after that we accept, okay, the whole damn story may make sense. No point of resisting all the time. Let's go through it playfully, joyously. There are a number of modern teachers that they say this whole creation is just an accident. It's an incident that somehow happens. There is no point in it. There is no purpose in it. But there is a point in it. There is a purpose. Last time I told that story, that once I confronted Amma and said, no, it doesn't make sense, the whole thing. And she said, yes, there is a purpose in creation. And it took a few more years until I could say, yes, I understand. She was right. The whole thing makes sense. There is a purpose to it. The more we can somehow accept it, the less we are always creating resistance that creates pain. The more we become capable of accepting circumstances as they are, not in a weak way, not in a beaten way, not in a way that, oh, I cannot do anything, things are the way they are. No. As an expression of strength. There's no point in resisting, in battling against facts. But then, on the relative level, we still can put our creative beauty into it. And many times we may change the circumstances doing so. And many times we may not be able. But still, the very attempt of bringing something positive into it is already uplifting, makes the life joyous, even if the situation is not a joyous one.